We need a full investigation. I know. Like, excuse me. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Listen. Get rid of that bullshit.
Been for 10 years. Okay. I'm sure that list is really forthcoming.
Yeah. By the way. Okay.
If you're looking for engaging, no-nonsense insights on today's most pressing issues, you're in the right place. Here, we dive into the heated debates and key political moments shaping the nation, like the recent clash on the PBD podcast where Vin Armani took a bold stand on voter priorities, the economy, and what America really wants from its leaders. We cover everything from the core issues of immigration and inflation to the question of unity versus accountability in politics. Whether you're tuning in for fresh perspectives or in-depth breakdowns, subscribe and join the conversation. Let's dig into the real talk that impacts us all.
Let me bring in Krystal. I want to ask you this, Krystal. Kamala Harris made a big play of abortion rights. She really bet the bank on that, delivering enough women to get her over the line. And there was this weird poll, the Seltzer poll that came out of Iowa at the weekend that really excited everyone, where she had, the normally very accurate pollster, she had Kamala up 3 in Iowa, and it was apparently women over 60 that were driving that. And the general feeling then was, wow, maybe older women in particular, who might be old enough to remember life before Roe versus Wade, may come out and punish Trump enough where they win. But they simply didn't come out in anything like the numbers people expected. And you also had at the same time, obviously, a lot of black men and Latino men going to Trump and so on. But the women just did not come out for Kamala Harris. Why? And was it that abortion in the end, yes, it's an important issue, of course it is, but not as important to the average American who can't afford to put food on the table and is incensed by the fact that at the same time of this cost of living crisis, you have nearly 10 million illegal immigrants coming over the border, which is putting huge pressure on public services. Was it they just bet the bank on the wrong issue? That actually, yeah, it's important, but not as important as I kept saying. I think it's the economy, and immigration. They're the 2 reasons that Trump is so popular.
I think that I and others overlearned the lesson from 2022, because in 2022, I was saying, oh, look at the economic numbers. Voters are saying economy, inflation, these are number one issues. The economic numbers, by the way, were far worse at that point. And I said, it's a wrap. Like, it's going to be a massive red wave. And then that red wave didn't materialize. So I took from that this issue, which had really been a game changer in terms of the American public in a way that, frankly, I did not anticipate before. But I think part of what is different in 2024 is, number one, it's, much larger general election electorate. So that's a big change. And number two, as much as I think there are failures on the Democratic part, I also think we can't deny that Trump is this uniquely charismatic performer. And people love the show. So he outperformed every Republican on the ticket, which is also a rebuke to, a lot of Republicans who thought that they had to get rid of him because of all of his baggage. I actually think he's the most, likely to win of the Republican set. I think Ron DeSantis would have been in much more difficult terrain. So every single Republican Senate candidate underperforms him, save for, I believe, 1. So I think that's part of why. But, look, the country overwhelmingly says that we're on the wrong track. They're very dissatisfied with the economy. Joe Biden's approval rating is very low. Those are very favorable conditions for a challenger to come in and win. And so when voters say at the end of the day, economy and inflation, those are my number one issues, I believe them when they say that.
Okay, Vinny, what do you want to see Trump do in his second term? I totally agree with what Dan said, that he'll be much more conscious of his legacy because he hasn't got to win another election. So he's got a second chance that maybe even Trump, if he's honest, thought at the start of 2022 he might not have got. I thought he was dead and buried politically. I think most people did. So the fact he's won again so emphatically is extraordinary, but it gives him an extraordinary opportunity to correct the legacy that he left with last time. What do you want to see him do, and how important is it to unify America? It's so bitter. It's so divisive, American political discourse now. Would you like to see him bring people into the tent? For example, putting some people perhaps in his cabinet from the other side, bringing people in, being a genuine unifier.
Yeah, and Piers, he was already doing it. If you watch the campaign trail, he not only had Jewish Americans backing him, in Detroit, he had Muslims going on stage and saying that he has the Muslim vote again. And I do think, Piers, and just going back, Piers, the Democrats had 4 years, Piers, 4 years to prove everybody wrong and say, look at how bad Trump was. Look at what we've done. They did absolutely nothing. They got exposed and they did shit. Sorry for my language, Piers, but this is what I wanted to do besides being a unifier, because I wrote some of these things down. We need election reform. Number one, Piers, the fact that California, Gavin Newsom, has made it illegal to even show your ID to vote speaks volumes on what these people want. Flying illegals to all these swing states is unbelievable. And all these battleground states, that's cheating. He has to do that, number one, too. I want him to get all the Epstein's list, and this is not unifying, but this needs retribution. We need exposure to all these people. Epstein's list and holding all these people accountable for what they did. January 6th, we need a full investigation. I know, like, excuse me. Yeah, oh yeah. Okay. Listen, get rid of that bullshit.
His best friend for 10 years. I'm sure that list is really forthcoming.
Yeah. By the way, okay, yeah. Switch everything on Donald Trump. Not Bill Clinton or any of your go-to Democrats. But anyway, let me finish.
I called them
January 6th.
Donald Trump was his best friend for 10 years, so conveniently ignore that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, they were best friends. Yeah. The January 6th investigation, the pipe bomb investigation, Piers, I think he needs to pardon all the people that didn't do anything wrong, that were just standing there. They got freaking 20 years in prison. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, it was an insurrection. No guns, no nothing. Nobody got killed. The only person that got killed.
The trouble, Vinny, the trouble is.
Oh, wow, guys. This has got to be one of my favorite videos in a while. Vinny is absolutely amazing. His content is next level. If you're enjoying this, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. It really helps me out a lot. Now let's dive right back into the video.
It's so funny though.
Hang on. I tell you what.
It starts with like, oh, we're going to be unified, and then it's like, here's who I want retribution.
Well, that's the point I was going to make, Vinny.
Because she wants us to forget. Because you want us to forget. You want us to forget. No. It's classic because you, guess what? You guys don't want accountability. You don't want accountability. No. Let me finish. You don't want accountability. And that's what you Democrats do. Yeah,
hold on,
accountability for all the
bullshit.
bullshit.
This doesn't sound very unifying now. Let me just hang on, please. Hang on, just time out, please. I want time out. I want to bring in Frank Luntz, who's obviously one of America's top pollsters. Frank, we've talked a lot in this presidential.
Wow, Vinny really brings up some powerful points. It's interesting to see how he connects the frustration around economic struggles with the bigger issues on voters' minds today. And he's right. Topics like inflation, immigration, and accountability seem to be resonating more than ever, even more than the social issues we've heard about in past elections. What do you all think? Is the economy and reform really what's driving people? Or do you think there are other issues just as important? Drop your thoughts below. I'd love to hear your take.